Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Well, guys, please do subscribe all three channels if you haven't. Double check, make sure you still are. And man, it was a wild ride, a wild night. And this is what it sounded like in Dallas, Texas last night. Uh-oh. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. You know, God, that feels more like an alien invasion thing.
Yeah. Can I just say, that sounds so eerie, and it's the beginning of so many movies gone wrong coming up lately, like with zombie apocalypse and stuff. And then there's the other part where it almost sounds like a whale out there. It's just so eerie.
Multiple tornadoes in multiple states. In fact, Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana all saw big action last night. This is a tornado near Winnsboro, Texas. As you watch as this car comes close to where it's crossing in front, I've been about that close to a tornado before, and honestly, all we did was just join hands and say prayers. And thankfully are still here. That's kind of all you can do when it gets really close to you. Of course, this is from Zach Walters. He's a storm chaser. So, storm chasers live for this thing. It's, I guess, adrenaline rush. This is the end of a tornado in Linden, Texas. So East Texas, absolutely Arkansas, Western Louisiana, as you're going to be seeing. This is Shreveport, Louisiana. Shreveport's right on the Texas border again. Another tornado. This one did cause damage. Whenever you see those clouds, just look for a rotation. And, we've experienced a lot of that, a lot close. We had one when we were in our 19-foot trailer. Right over us, the clouds were rotating directly overhead and starting to create a tornado. The tornado formed, and luckily for us, it was formed fully about a mile down the road, and we were okay. But boy, it was wild to see it form directly over your head. This is another view of Shreveport. Multiple properties damaged. There are a lot of damaged properties, unfortunately, in multiple locations. That looks like that was probably a transformer that went down. As you see, this is Kirby, Arkansas as well. One thing that you notice, like that brick house, that nice brick house, it looks like the walls are all standing even though the roof has been ripped off. Of course, when you get to the mobile homes, and usually there's nothing left standing. Because of the strength, they do make the mobile homes better nowadays, but still you could see, it's tough to withstand a direct hit from a tornado. Pretty much impossible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's really send our prayers and energy out to these people that, communities can come together. And that was something very heartwarming that one of our family members shared with us, is the weather tore the roof off of their house, but within such a short period of time, there were people over to put a tarp up so that they could rebuild the roof on their house. And these are the shining examples that we really need to cling to, and we can hold on for ourselves and change our vibration that way, just really helping each other out in such wonderful ways. That's our basic form. We are created to help each other. Where one person is weak, another person is strong. And really, with that type of attitude going into things, this is how we can become one, and this is how we can build without fail, is just simply by helping each other and following our heart.
Nicely stated, and very true. So yeah, tornadoes, high winds, lots of damage. Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas, all the way between Dallas, Fort Worth to Shreveport. We're very familiar with that whole stretch. At one point in time, there were hundreds of thousands of people without power. If we go look right now, you see 92,000 without power in Texas and 10,000 without power currently in Louisiana, 5,000 in Arkansas, just about 6,000. We also see California has 38,000 without power still. Don't forget, California's had some interesting weather. Looking forward, you can see that the big area of concern is now going to move eastward. As we're looking at Alabama, we're looking at Georgia, Tennessee. We're also looking into Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and then over into West Virginia and the Carolinas. So just be aware of the potential. Look at the snow-covered mountains behind Hollywood. You know, truthfully, I've only been to this area a few times, so I'm not familiar with whether or not they get so snow-covered.
You know, I really cannot remember, but if they're putting it on the news like this, it's probably pretty rare for that area.
Absolutely. I don't remember ever seeing snow behind the Hollywood sign before. Doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And, you know, we see some areas getting over 100 inches of snowfall. A lot of people have been trapped inside their homes. We were talking about that yesterday. Still the same situation. State of emergency in 13 counties. As the storms have not been letting up. You know, all this snowpack is going to, again, add weight to the San Andreas, as well as the other faults that are over that way. If you guys are not familiar with him, Frank Hogan Beats, I think you call him, the gentleman that really hit dead on the Turkey quake, Hooger Beats. So he's on record saying that it is likely, and we touched on this briefly. Now, whether he's a one-hit wonder or if he's going to, prove out to have a good system like Dutch sense, we'll see. But he said that there was a really high likelihood, the third and the fourth, and again, the fifth and the sixth, for something very, very major. He did also point out a little anomaly that popped up over in the San Andreas area, but a more significant one over on the western Pacific side. More likely that, if we did get something major, he was feeling it was more likely to be somewhere between Indonesia up to Japan, up to Kamchatka in Russia. But there was also an anomaly over in the San Andreas area as well. Now, he was talking major, 7+, perhaps even as high as an 8. So we'll see, Again, he does it based on a variety of different inputs. As you see this earthquake warning, a convergence of critical planetary geometry around the 2nd and 5th of March may result in large to very large seismic activity, possibly even a megathrust earthquake around the 3rd to 4th of March and or the 6th of 7th. And so you see the added content that you go in there. Check out Snopes. Check out USGS. Check out U.S. government facts. We get you guys. We get you.
Indeed, we sure do.
So, interesting times, absolutely. We have tornado damaging at least 340 houses in West Java, Indonesia. Again, Indonesia is one of the most prone places on the planet. Definitely not the number one place for surviving the apocalypse, so to speak. Now, this is the United Arab Emirates, which usually is kind of desert. And you can see the desert can significantly flood. I mean, honestly, the desert can be terrifying when you have major flooding going on because it just can't handle the water.
No, these areas, you wouldn't want to be in a position like that. You wouldn't want to drive through, but I understand people get stuck and, flash floods. Well, they're called that for for that reason exactly. And water is relentless. Water is going to find a way. It's very much like nature. It goes through every crack, every crevice, every hole, every pore. I mean, water finds a way, and it finds the weakest way possible, because it just pounds and pounds and pounds. Water is a force to be reckoned with, something to be highly respected.
Absolutely. And you have whole towns and villages being submerged in Malaysia. Let's send prayers that way. As you know, this area again is one that's relatively impoverished. And so you have over 25,000 people moved to relief centers and schools and community halls. The country is experiencing its 6th episode of continuous heavy rains from the annual monsoon season. And we've just seen record season after record season. Strong and shallow 6.6 quake hits Vanuatu. And that, by the way, was Rama, and he's voicing concerns with the quakes. He is feeling. Now, this is interesting, so I want to check this out, because I meant to pull this up to see if there's any other curious quakes going on. Well, there's one dead in the New Madrid, 2.2. And nothing so unusual coming out of the U.S. at the moment. So the biggest one we're going to have is going to be this one over in Vanuatu. 6.5 USGS is showing at 10 kilometers. And again, this is the area that he thought would, this is Frank Hogerbeets, would be the most likely between here and up to this little peninsula, this little arm. This is called Kamchatka. As you see, the Aleutians trail away to here. And as I've shared many times, which you guys may not have seen, because many times for me maybe is a couple dozen, and yet we've probably done 3,000 to 4,000 videos, 3,000 to 4,000 videos by now at least. What you see here, this basically is showing a plume. There's a plume here, and this shows crustal displacement. The crust does shift. So when we look at even the Aleutians themselves, and then we see a shift, and then here we see a shift, and so the question is it going to shift again? Will there be a massive crustal displacement event coming? We'll see, guys, right? What we've gotten from what the guides have given us in our time frame, and yes, Cindy's a little younger than me, about a decade younger, and I'm an old codger. We don't anticipate having to worry about a crustal displacement event so much in our lifetimes. I think the bigger worry is everything going on geopolitically. I mean, that's right in our face, and the scenario with outright conflict. These are the things that are right in our face. The food supply, staying warm, staying cool if you're in the desert, having water if you're in the desert. I mean, these, again, a lot of people are very, very worried. Now, we don't think that we've never received anything that Planet X Nibiru is going to cause tremendous cataclysm. And this is just what we're sharing that we have gotten. Now, we have gotten that the biggest thing, again, is WAR and, again, shortages, the food situation, the plague upon the land, and other plagues upon the land that might come. These are the things we have to worry about, and just society breaking down in general. Massive pollen storm engulfs Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Look at this pollen storm. Wow! Holy cow, can you say hay fever? Oh my God, the pressure in the sinuses if you're inhaling that, and woo-wee woo.
Just saying, from what I remember, at least twice a year, my body seems to have these hiccups, and it is definitely when the earth is changing, when the pollen is changing. Change of seasons can be really tough on you. So if you're having a lot of colds or aches or pains, check to see what season it is, and that might be the problem right there, just a change of season.
Absolutely. And I did have many friends, being that I was in the Northeast. I had so many of my friends end up relocating in the Carolinas, as I did, and have massive allergy problems because of all the pollen and stuff they weren't used to. When you change locations, like Cindy came from a desert to a very, very lush, semi-tropical landscape, very different, very, very, very different. Can be a shock to the system, and that doesn't take into effect all the other stuff that's happening in the world.
Yeah, and can I just say, when I was going to the desert, I went from northern Idaho, very lush and green, to the desert, and I probably had just as bad reactions when I went to the desert because of all the sage. I mean, the pollen is very, very different, very powerful wherever you go. So if you're making that huge change and you move and you find yourself not well, just keep in mind your body's probably trying to adjust to all the new pollens and all the new plants. It can be difficult.
Absolutely. And, that is an unprecedented bloom, by the way. And here we go at something else. We have millions of caterpillars, right? Invade Sharnak, southeastern Turkey, threatening crops, gardens, and homes. Where did they come from? That's the questions. They appeared out of nowhere, threatening the farmland. Where did they come from? Where did they put little parachutes on those guys?
Yeah.
All right, guys, jump, dive, dive, dive. Farmers are sounding the alarm. Massive amounts of caterpillars destroying properties, gardens, and crops. Obviously, it's going to lead to an increase in food prices, and this is after the quakes. And again, the amount of people lost, over 50,000. You add this on, it's the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but look deeper. Don't think it's necessarily an act of the creator, because there's a lot more going on than that. And sometimes it's a little bit too late. We were all misinformed. Mistakes were made. She wasn't a witch. Well, sorry. A lot of good that's gonna do her.
Well, what about these people that are so influential they can talk other people into burning other people? Why are we not afraid of them? I mean, they make such a good case, and they're so manipulative, and I don't think that the control structure has changed.
It hasn't changed. It's all the same. Nothing's changed in reality. And the outright love and understanding of Mother Nature's animals there. Look at this little guy, and that horse is so big. What, 1,500 pounds, 2,000 pounds, and look at this little guy, and the horse is gentle. It's just, again, shows you how we need to appreciate nature, because nature will appreciate us if we appreciate it. And again, we will get those warnings, those cues, that knowing if we stay free and clear of all the toxic substances, clean ourselves up, get in harmony with nature, and show it a little respect.
And keep in mind, everything that surrounds us, our animals, horses in particular, dogs too, are all very, very psychic. So when you're using your mind and you're creating pictures of what you want to see from that animal, then they're reading that information. They're reading, because that's how they read each other, right? They don't talk and use words like we do. So they're very, very psychic, sending telepathic information back and forth. And that horse and that baby, they're having a great conversation right now. And baby's saying, it's a little bit gross. It's a little bit gross.
Absolutely. And we want to thank you guys again for your support over on Patreon, Ko-Fi. We couldn't do it without you guys. Check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com as well. We want to thank Zoe for being a Patreon and joining us over there. And let me just shout out Nikki, as she is always telling others to help support the channel as well. We appreciate you, Nikki, as well.
Thanks, you guys, so much. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.